The winning teams on average were 2.44 times more likely to spare me the next few minutes of your precious time so I can share with you the top secrets that I found from over 20 hours of data analysis on women's games. If you happen to be a guy watching this, you may also want to stick around and find out how you can potentially impress your wife or girlfriend to win more games with these 4 simple tips. I analyzed 4 different 4-5 women doubles tournament games, a total of over 1,100 shots across different age groups and regions for my learning. And the first key finding that I want to share with you is the third shot strategy. But surprisingly, with 31.6% of the thirds being drive shots, the winning teams on average drove the thirds more often than the losing teams, which only drove their thirds 21.6% of the time. That's a difference of 10%. Or another way to look at this data is that the winning team is almost 50% more likely to drive their third than the losing team. And to combo with this, the winning team have an extremely high third shot drive success rate of 96%. Now, does this mean that you should look to drive as many balls as possible on your third? I don't think so, because the majority of the thirds are still drop shots by both the winning and losing teams. What I do think this means for women's doubles is that when the other team gives you a weak return, you should absolutely punish them with a good drive. There are 2 reasons why I personally believe the drive shot is more effective in women's game than in men's doubles at a 4-5 level. And the first reason is likely due to the difference in mobility between men and women. In general, women take more time to move up to the kitchen after they return the ball, especially when they're stacking on receive. The person returning the ball has even more distance to cover in that scenario. A weak return followed by a good drive by the other team is more likely to catch the person on the move before she gets to the kitchen and force a poor fourth shot. And the second reason I believe is due to the difference in both reach and mobility. In men's doubles, by having better mobility and reach, on the return, the guy who's up at the kitchen is more capable of defending his partner who is still moving up to the kitchen. In contrast, for the women's games, the reduced court coverage and mobility means that the girl up at the kitchen is less likely to poach the ball to protect the partner who is still moving up to the kitchen. Because if they do aggressively poach the ball, they are taking a much greater risk of not being able to recover the position quickly afterwards. All in all, if you're playing in women's doubles, try sticking more to the third shot drop to help you get to the kitchen, but definitely don't shy away from driving the third when you see a weak return or your opponent is out of position. And let me know if you agree with my view on this. Comment your thoughts down below in the comments. And the second surprising finding from my study is that in women's doubles, the players are significantly more successful at getting to the kitchen after third shot drop than the guys in men's doubles, with the winning team getting to the kitchen as often as 80% of the time after they had their third shot drop. And even the losing teams are able to get to the kitchen 68% of the time after the third shot drop. Whereas in men's games, also at the 4-5 level, on average, the winning teams got to the kitchen 68% of the time, and the losing teams only got to the kitchen 53% of the time after their third shot drop. If you missed my previous video on the 4-5 men's double stats, I'll put a link to that video down below in the description. And I've been thinking about why women are better at getting to the kitchen in women's doubles than men in men's doubles. And my personal opinion on this is not necessarily that the women are better and moving up to the kitchen than the guys, but more so to do with the fact that women in general have less reach and power. Their fourth shot volley is less punishing than what men can do in men's doubles, therefore making the fifth shot easier to reset in women's doubles. Of course, there are always exceptions to this generalization. Again, let me know if you agree with me in the comments down below. And with such high percentage of being able to get to the kitchen after the third shot drop for both the losing and winning team, I guess the key takeaway here is to still focus on prioritizing your third shot drop and help yourself get to the kitchen. Now, one consideration for female players at this level would be to perhaps spend more time practicing the fourth shot roll volley, develop more power and spin behind the fourth shot. This will help make it more difficult for your opponent to move up to the kitchen in the games. And since we're talking about the third shot, I can't finish this topic without mentioning how often the teams get to the kitchen after they drive their thirds. Well, it's not very impressive. In fact, it's even less impressive than the 4-5 men's doubles stats. The winning girls were able to make it to the kitchen only 48% of the time after they drive their thirds, whereas for the losing girls, they only made it to the kitchen 27% of the time after they drive their third. And that is as little as 1 in every 4 drives that the girls are able to get to the kitchen for the losing teams. But if you insist on driving your third in your games, at least consider getting yourself a banger paddle from Enhanced Pickleball, which is also the main sponsor of this video.
Can I show you?
Aim for that corner. Yes, aim for that corner.
Like this.
Okay, good shot. Now here comes the third key finding, and after this I have one more to go, and it only gets better from here. Hang on for just a few more minutes. In women's doubles at 4-5 level, the rallies are significantly longer than the men's games. On average, each rally in women's game has 8.37 shots, whereas in men's game, it's 7.11 shots per rally. Another way to look at it is that the women's rallies roughly last 18% longer than the men's rallies. With 28% of the rallies ended within the first 5 shots, the girls are able to get past the 5th shot a lot more consistently than the guys, during which 39% of the rallies ended within the first 5 shots. And I think this is due to a combination of women having higher success rate on the first 4 shots than men in general, but also women tend to have less threatening 4th shot to deal with, making the 5th shot easier, therefore making the rallies last longer on average. Again, let me know what you think. As for the girls, maybe consider spending more time off court to work on your lower body, which will probably help you last through your extended rallies in women's games. And here comes a big surprise, which brings us to the last key point I wanted to share with you today. The biggest takeaway from my study is that once you get to the kitchen, or get close to the kitchen, in women's game at the 4-5 level, I recommend that you start banging as much as possible. Yes, you heard me right, start banging. Speed up the ball at the slightest opportunity. Because in women's games at this level, the winning teams have a very high chance of winning the rally after they initiate the speed up. 65% win rate after the volley speed up, and 69% win rate after they initiate off the bounce speed up, which is absolutely insane, especially when I compare that to the stats of the men's games, which is 50% or less for both winning and losing teams. What was even more shocking to me was that the winning women's teams sped up the ball off the bounce way more often than the losing teams. We're talking 44% of the speed ups from the winning team were off the bounce versus only 18% by the losing teams. And that is, the winning teams on average were 2.44 times more likely to speed up the ball off the bounce than the losing teams. And when you combine that with a really high success rate for off the bounce speed up, and that's gotta be a recipe for success. What do you think about this? Share your thoughts down below in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share this with your friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more, because next month I'm going to do the same analysis on 4-5 mixed doubles games. Thank you. I'll see you next time.